consent. So I want us to start. Um, in all that we do, we need to be conscious of that. So lookup functions, this is a simple definition that we have for lookup. So what lookup is just the English word look up. You are looking for something. You are looking up for it from somewhere, right? So what it's simply is lookup functions. Like I said, we have VLOOKUP, we have HLOOKUP, and we have XLOOKUP. XLOOKUP is the most recent lookup, and it builds on the disadvantage of V and H lookup. That's where we got that X lookup. So S lookup is the most useful one. And in all honesty to you guys, I have stopped using H lookup for a long time. I hardly even it's just once in a while I use V lookup because of why. The moment I just pick up X lookup, I don't want to look back again. It makes life easier, but I want to go through it so that we'll understand how to use them all, right? So starting with VLOOKUP, V just stands for, it just the first letter of the word vertical. When you look at vertical, vertical means from top to bottom. That's vertical. If you're looking at something vertical. So if I look at this table now, vertically, I'm looking at students, the column students. I have students 1, student 2, student 3. That's the vertical. So what is saying that you look for a function. So VLOOKUP function looks up a supplied value. So I will use a value that will say, okay, look for it here. A typical example is if I have this this column, let's say I have this column is made up of, like, say, 100 rows of data, 100 rows of data. How would I perform that lookup function, right? How will I perform the function there? So what we are saying is that you use the supplied value and look up through that column and return the corresponding value. What I'm saying is, for instance, I want to retrieve what is the music score for student number 3. I can just come to student number 3, then check. I'll check music. I'll say it's 85, right? For instance, the question will come, what is the science score of student 2? I'll have to come to student 2, then trace and go to where we have what? The science. I hope we can see my screen, though. I hope it's legible enough. Let me try to see. Okay, yeah. So I want to move from, okay, thanks. Now, I want to look for, that's what it's all about. Now, these are pre-inbuilt functions. It's already inbuilt in Excel, right? So that's where you call up. Remember, in the last lecture, we mentioned that anytime you want to type a function in Excel, you have to type the word equal to. The moment you type equal to, it tells Excel that you are about to put in a function, right? So like I said, they are already pre-inbuilt. So let's, how do we use lookup function? Like I said, you look at the column and trying to pick a value. So for instance, I'll come here. I want to let me type the science, right? I want to type math here. So I want to use lookup function to try to get, for this student 5, I want to get the science score of this student 5. This is how it works. What you need to do is you type on, let me delete all these first. And okay, this one is, okay. All right. Okay, I think I understand what they did in this particular one. Let's do it this way. This is where they use the lookup function. Yes. So basically, I have 2 tables here. Can you see the beauty of this is that in this table, I have more students here compared to the students here. Here, I only have students 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. In this table, I have students 1, I have 5, I have 3, I have 23, 42, 2, right? So I have more students taking music lectures, and this is their score. Now, I want to populate, I want to compile a result of all the students, this student 1, student 2, student 3. So what I will do is I want to put the value, the music score of student 1. I want to put it here. So like I said, to do that, what you do is you type on equal to, and type your VLOOKUP. Now, remember, why are we using VLOOKUP? Because the value you're looking for is in a vertical, is across the column. But if you are looking for, if the value you're looking for is, let's say, horizontal, that's where you use HLOOKUP. So because it's a vertical value I'm looking for, that is, if I look at, what we're saying is that you are searching vertically. I'll have to look through this column and look for student 1. Then I'll pick the student 1's music score. That's what I want. So how do we do that? We say equal to VLOOKUP. The moment you start typing, the formula we want to pop up, just use tab key. It will pick up. Now you could see that. Let's explain how the arrays, when you come to this function, when you type in VLOOKUP, it will give you this lookup value. What lookup value represents what are you looking for? You can see it highlighted here in bold. What are you looking for? That's the value you want to look for. Is this student 1? I want to look for student 1. So I'll select it. So you can see lookup value. You separate it with a comma. Now you are looking for the array. Table array means where do you want to look for student 1? In this case, I want to look for it in this column. The whole of this place is where I want to look for student 1. So from here to here. So what I'm doing, I'm holding down my shift key, right? If I type the first one, I hold down my shift key and I click on the last one. So it selects the whole array. This is in this whole array. I want to look for that value. So what I'm saying is that I'm looking for these students from the whole of this. Now, that's how to select the table array. The next thing is you want to indicate the column number. So why are we talking about okay, in this case, since I'm looking for a table, I want to search for the whole table. So this is the whole table. The whole of this to this place is a table. Yeah, I can see a hand. Just in a minute, I'll call you. I'll take your question. So this is the whole table.
So I can't. Okay, I can't. No. I want to call your attention. I can't see the screen. All right.
Okay. Sorry, say you want to call out my attention to what?
That we can't see your screen.
Is it the same for everyone?
I can see his screen. It's not the same for everyone. I can see
Actually, I can see it now, but I can't see it before. It was not showing before.
Okay, good. So let me take it from the top again. Yeah. So like I said, first of all, if you look at the lookup function says, if you type in the lookup function, it will bring out this array for you. First is the lookup value. Lookup value, I say, is what you want to look for. Then you have a table array. That is, from which table are you looking for it? So in this case, if I say I want to look for these students from this whole table, this whole of this place, this is a table. The table can be wider than this. It can be as long. It can be up to 10 columns, right? So that is the table array I want to look for. That's student 1, right? So now, if I'm looking at it from here, I will say, what is the index number, right, from this table array? What is the index number? Now, for this column, this is first column, second column in terms of this particular table, right? So in this case, what I'm trying to return is in the second column. Are we good? Because this is the first column, this is the second column. So what I'm trying to return is on the second column. So how do we do that? Like I said, we start by saying VLOOKUP, right? These students, that's the lookup value from this table array. This is the whole table, right? Now, what am I saying? I'm looking for it from, this is 1 and 2. So the third thing is saying the lookup, the range lookup. Now you will see that this range lookup is also put in square bracket. So when something is put in square bracket, it means it is optional. It is not mandatory. It is optional. I can decide to leave it blank, right? Now we'll only make use of it if the table we're referencing we want to be specific. So in this case, we won't do anything. We just leave it. Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. We're getting an error. Why are we getting an error? Lookup value, VLOOKUP. Lookup value is this. Want to get it from this table array, right? Column index number is 1. Yeah, okay, so the lookup range has to be exact. This lookup range, right, is telling us what you are looking for. Is it the approximate? That's for true, or exact, a match. So, like for instance, when we have numbers, as we're going to see other examples that we're going to do, it's going to tell us whether we're using numbers. So in this case, what we want is the exact match. So what we are saying is that lookup, let me explain this again. Lookup value, we pick the student 1, right? I'm picking this table range. Look at the column. Why I have student 1 return? Because you are saying return the value on this column, but is the value you want is on column 2. So we have to use 2 here. And you put in the false, right? False is saying exact match. And you close your bracket. So you can see student 1 is 45 that you have here. I write it again. Let's say VLOOKUP. This time around, I want to use student 2. When I pick student 2, the table array has to be the whole table that you want to look for this value from, right? What is the column? The value you want to return is from which column? So 1, 2 is on this. That's why you have to use 2. And you put what? For this range, it has to be false because what you want is you want to use the exact match. What we are saying is that he has to use the exact match of student 2. When you get the exact match, you return. But this first one, I say approximate match. That's where we are dealing with numbers, maybe 3.2, 3.4, 3.5, right? You say approximate match, but for things like this, you use the exact match, right? Once we select the exact match and close our bracket, it will return that value. So if you check student 2 has 62. Now, another thing I want to show us, remember last week, the last time we had a conversation, I said sometimes there's a way, in this case, I'm using cell reference. What do I mean by cell reference? I'm referencing the cell where the value I'm looking for is. So in this case, if you look at this formula, if I press F2, you will see I'm saying look up L6. Look at L row 6. So that is look up this cell from this table, right? Now, if you look at it from this table, return the value on the second column. That's what we're saying. Look up L6 from this table array, return the second column, the value on the second column. That is, whenever you look at this table, whenever you see the value in L2. So as I'm looking down, the moment I see the value in L2, which is this, what we are saying is that go to the second column and return the value you see there into this table for me. And this false means it has to be the exact value of what is in L6 is what you return for me, right? So that's why we have it as 62. I was trying to say something. If, for instance, which, remember, like I said last week, I don't encourage people to do hard coding. What we say hard coding is, for instance, instead of referencing this cell, you go ahead to copy it. So I copy student 3. And I told you that if you want to use that one, you have to put it in a quotation mark, right? So this is an example, what I'm trying to say. I say VLOOKUP. What am I trying to look for? Like I said, I'll put it in this quotation mark. Can you see student 3? I put it in quotation mark. That's what I'm looking for, student 3. You see the exact way it is typed with the space. I put comma. Where I'm looking for it is from this table array, right? Then I separate, right? And I say, once you look at it from this table array, return wherever you see student 3, return the second column. I use 2, and I use my exact match. I close it. I will still get the same result, 85. Yes, Femi, I can see your hands up.
What you just explained is the cell reference, right?
Yes. So,
Okay.
the first one I'm doing is cell reference. This second one is not cell reference. So that's why I say it's better we use cell reference.
Okay.
Does it make sense now? You understand?
Yes.
Because
yes.
why am I saying we should use cell reference? Such that the moment I change the value of the cell, it will reflect the same calculation for me. So let's do it this way. Now remember that in this case, I use hard coding. I use the hard. You can see it instead of using cell reference. So what I'm saying is that I can replace this whole thing with the cell reference. So I can highlight it and click cell reference. You see, I've replaced it. I'll still have the same result. But let me do something here. Let me undo. So I want it to still be hard coded. It's still hard coded, right? Now let me show you why I will leave it as hard coded right now. Now you see in this one I use VLOOKUP. When the student is student 2, you look at student 2 and return the value. So for this table I only have student 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I want to pick a value that I don't have. Let's say let me pick 6. This student 6. If I change this student 2 to student 6, this formula will automatically update. It will update automatically on its own. So let's look at it. Remember, I use the cell reference here. So by the time I change this 2 to 6, if I change it to 6, see what will happen. Remember, it is 62 that is here. And you know that student 6 has only 93 points. If I change it and I type enter, can you see it has changed it for me? But in this case, I did hard coding. If I decide to change it to, let's say, let me change it to 23. And student 23 has 65. If I change this one to 23, right, to 23, watch here, 85, nothing will happen. Because I had coded it. That's why as you begin to work with data, always it's better you use cell reference. The beauty of cell reference is that anytime you make any alteration, the formula also applies. So, for instance, if I come back to my formula, remember, if I come back to my formula and I decide to change this hard coding to cell reference, I highlight the whole thing and I just click the cell and change it to L7. I can type it L7. Can you see it has highlighted, it has picked up. Remember, it was 85 that was there. It will change to 65 the moment I enter. Can you see it has changed to 65? So that's the beauty of using cell reference. So let me take it back to what it used to be, or we can leave it. Now I want to also remember, in this case, I'm typing them one by one, VLOOKUP, right? I pick this value, pick it from the whole table array, right? And I put the cell column reference, and I say I want it to be the exact match. And we say enter. The same way I want to do VLOOKUP. I'm doing this because I want to just draw attention to something that we need to know, right? That we need to take notes of anytime we're working with this kind of formula. The beauty of Excel is that you can do things and it automatically pop it up for you. So I want to just repeat this here. So undo. I want to still put the same here. So this is what I wanted to do here. Let me show you. I'll say VLOOKUP. I'm still putting the same value, this, right, from this table, right, and second, the exact match. Now, this is the beauty of Excel. The moment you put, since you want this is the same formula that will apply, you can put your cursor. You see the way the cursor is looking. If I bring it to the edge here, it changes to this plus sign. That means I can click and drag to apply. Exactly. This is what I wanted to. Do any of you have a, do you have an idea why I am having NA here, NA here? Do you have an idea? Anyone with an idea? Can you still hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, but do you have an idea why it's like that?
Did we add code student 6 and student 4?
No, we
Is it
didn't.
because of I don't think we didn't okay.
We didn't have code anything. Okay, so let me not, I'm saying this so that it will draw attention to something. So let me answer that. Now, watch something here. If you look at this, did you notice the table references? Can you see it highlights where the table reference is referencing from? It's L14 to M21, right? If I go to here, it's L14 to M21. The table is supposed to stay intact, but because I dragged the formula down, what happened is that the table was shifting. Here, the first place I typed, the table is between L14 to M21. Good. Now, this second one, look at what happened to the table. The table shifted. It shifts. Can you see? It shifted and started from L15 to M22. So as I'm dragging the formula, it's also moving alongside. That was why, because student 6 was omitted, that is why it returned not available. This NA error. This one, the table has moved 2 places. You know, because I dragged the formula 1, 2. You discover that in this place, the table has moved 2 times. Let me show you. Can you see? It has moved 2 times, 2 places. Is that clear now? In this case, because I moved it 3 times, the table have. Yeah.
Yes, clear.
Okay. So because in this case, because I've moved 3 times, it has moved 3 times. Right? So in this case, too, you see, because I move 1, 2, 3, 4, the table has moved 4 times here. 1, 2, 4. So how do we avoid those things? That is where we talk about locking the cell. You lock the cell. So let me put music again here. Let me still copy this one. Let me copy here and put it here and show you how to lock the cell. So in this case, this is how to lock the cell. When you type your VLOOKUP, anytime you are typing a range, right? Because I'm going to look for this value, comma, since I'm looking at this range, since I want it to always maintain this range, the moment I type the range, what I need to do is to press F4. Once I press my F4 key, did you notice it has added $sign before the alphabet and before the number, before the alphabet and before. So what is saying that it's locking L. Remember that L is the number of, is the column. So it's locking the column. It locks the column. That's this L. That's L. It's locking this column. 14 is the row. So that's this particular one. So it's locking this column and row all the way to this place. If I press that F4 again, look at what will happen to this $sign. They will change. So in this case, the $sign is just before the number. That means it's only locking the rows. Remember, this is the rows, right? That's where you have numbers. So it's only locking the rows. That means if I drag this formula to the left, if I drag this formula to this side, the row number will remain, but the column can change. If I press the F4 again, it will lock only the column, but the row can change. That's why you see that the dollar is just before that. If I press the F4 again, it removes it. But since I want it to lock the row and lock the column, I press F4, right? And now I can continue my typing. I can type the column number, remember is 2. And I say, I want the exact match. I can close it. So I have my 45. Now, if I click and drag, it has already locked this table column. It will not shift. It will remain intact. Can you see? The same value that I have here is what I have here. That way, remember, if I open this one, you see it still remain L14 to M21. If I come to this one, it's still L14 to M21. So that is just the difference between this and that. Does that make sense? Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So I want to pause and check. Any question? See anyone with a question? Are we all tracking together? The young lady among us has run away again. Okay. All right. So that is how to do VLOOKUP. You see, that's the beauty. I have this. I was able to populate this table without much stress. You get, let's assume you have more rules. You have more rules and two different tables, right? I have two different tables that I want to match some things. How do I get this data quickly and very fast? So like we say, VLOOKUP look for value or vertically, right? So by definition, it means that HLOOKUP, right, looks for value horizontally. HLOOKUP look for value horizontally. So a typical example is I want to, in this case, right, I could decide to say, let me populate, since I already have maths, I already have English. I already have math and English, so I can decide to populate. Let's pick any other ones. So for these students, we decide I want to populate for this student 6, right? Because it's only student 6 and 7 that I have here. I want to look at horizontally and pick up the, let's say, music. Let me put music here. I want to fill in the music value for this particular student in this place. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for music from this row, horizontal. So in this case, my lookup array, remind you, the definition say the lookup value. What am I looking for? I'm looking for music, right? For the lookup array, in this case, remember that in this case, the lookup array was, the lookup table is like this because I'm going to look for it from here and return the value here. So for HLOOKUP, I'm going to look for, this will be my table like this and the whole of this. So wherever I see music, I'm going to return the value that corresponds to where I'm having the intersection, depending on who I'm looking for. So say for instance, I want to populate the music value for this student 6, right? So we're saying, if I look at horizontally, I want to search for music. That's what I have here. I want to search for music, right? So when I find music, I want to return which of the row. Remember that where I have student is on what? This is row 1, row 2, and this is row 3. Does that make sense? This is 1, 2, 3. So let me put it this way. HLOOKUP, right? The value I'm looking for is this music. Where am I looking for it? I'm looking for it from this array. This is the array, table array, right? Now, I have row 1, row 2, row 3. So since student is on row what? Row 2, because this is 1, 2, and 3. It means I will say what? 2. The value I'm looking for is in row 2, right? The same thing, it has to be the exact match. And I close my bracket. You can see that student 6, the music score is what? 93. The same way like we did, let's decide to change. Let me change this. Let me change this to student 7. Let me change this to 7. Right? If I want to pick these students, the same thing is HLOOKUP. Right? I'm looking for music from this, right? From this table array to this place, right? And in that case, since I'm looking for students, it's going to change to what? It's going to change to 3, because the value I want to return is in 3. I use 3. I need the exact value, and I close it. Can you see it looks through there? It gives me, it returned the value 92 for me. Does that make sense? Good. So like I told you guys, it's just to help us. The idea where this becomes very useful is when you have a very big data set, right? You have a very large data set, and you need to just quickly pick up the value, right? You want to pick up the value. Let's look at this particular data set now. Let me look at this. Look at this data set. Remove the grid line and just make these ones. Let me put them right. So I have a table like this. This one is just one to have. So I have a table like this. This is like a HR data set. And now I can use either XLOOKUP or HLOOKUP to look up for values, right? I want to pick, let's say, pick this. Let me pick this. I want to have a random number. I want to have random numbers. And I put them here. So I decide that this one will be gone, right? I remove this one, and I remove this one. So I have just this random number. I want to know their. So let's say I'm interested in getting. I want to get some other data, like what is their. I want to get their training, right? So, well, let me check. We are good with VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP, right? Any question? Okay, we're all good with them. Fine. So now I want to use XLOOKUP. Now XLOOKUP is a get the dates, the completion date for. Let's use XLOOKUP now. Now you are asked to get. Look at Sarah Lee. Get her completion date. Let's do some. Okay, let's say you want to get their completion dates here. Completion dates. Now they say there's a training that they're supposed to take. They're supposed to take it online. Have they done it? You want to get their completion date, this employee, right? Using employee ID. What is the completion date? You know, instead of you to start coming now, okay, check this one. Okay, I have to come here and check completion date and put. You know, I'll come and say, okay, 102, check the completion date, copy and put here. Come here, 3, copy and put. You can do that with what? What can we use to get this?
VLOOKUP.
I like
Right.
that. Yes, because you're looking at it vertically, right, and gets this. So I love this. So let's try using VLOOKUP. How do we do it? We say equal to, right? Yeah. So let me say this about VLOOKUP. Okay, I'll show us how. I'll show it here. Let's do it this way now. Let me mention it. VLOOKUP always look for value at the right-hand side. It cannot get the value that is on the left-hand side. it cannot get the value on the left-hand side. I will explain later, but just have it in your mind. So we say we can use VLOOKUP. So what will it be? VLOOKUP, right? I'm looking for this value from the table array. Can you see now? My table array is from here to here. So you see, what is the column? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? That's the number of column. But the value I want to return is on which column? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my column index will be 5 because that is where I want the data to return from column 5, right? And I want it the exact match. Close your bracket and drop. And you see, O2, what is the date? 18 January, 18 January. Right?
Put the cells.
I'm coming, yeah. Sorry, guys. All right. So, like I said, we use the VLOOKUP, right? Can you see? But remember, let me lock this table. If not, if I click and let's just click and drag first. Now, you know why we didn't have an error? Because the value I'm still looking for are still within the same range. So let me look at this. Can you see the table has shifted, but it's still accommodating the value. That's why you didn't have an error. So remember, always lock your table array, F4. Always lock your table array, right? It's locked. So I can redo it, click and drag. That is it. Now, so this is what I was trying to explain to you. Let's say I want to use this value. I want to use exactly. Okay, let me use name here. Let me use name. In fact, let's play around with this thing now. I want to populate all the names that correspond to this employee ID. Remember, what can we do? We can use our VLOOKUP, right? VLOOKUP, pick this, comma. I can decide to put this table. Now, the truth is that you don't have to select the whole. I can just, instead of picking the whole table, I can also decide, since what I'm looking for is still within these two places, I can just decide to stop within here. You get now? Since the value I'm trying to pick is within that place, I can stop in that place. That means the value I want is on the second row. So I'm just saying this so that you take notes that it's possible to do that. You don't have to pick the whole. So I put my column 2, right? And of course, it has to be exact match. And I drop. You see, it has filled the name. I can do. Beautiful. So it has picked up the name for me, right? So this is what I was trying to. Now, I want to put their training course. Let me say I want to build a table with it. I want to put their training course here, right? I want to put their certification, right? Then I want to put their, I want to also put their employee ID. I'm building a new table entirely, employee ID. You understand? So I'm building a new table entirely using just except function, just to show you use cases that we can do. So I will only use these names here to do that, right? So now this is what I was trying to explain. You can use this to search. You can also use VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP, right? This is value. We are looking at it from this table array. From this table array, let me lock it. Since I want to return training courses, if I count 1, 2, 3, that's where training courses is in. So column 3, and the exact match, I close. Can you see it has returned cybersecurity for me? In this case, it means I can click and drag right? It has filled everything for me. Now, the beauty of this is we can also apply the same formula to get our certification, right? Certify by saying what? VLOOKUP. I pick up this value, right? And I apply the same. In this case, since certification is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so 6, column 6. First of all, let me log this and say column 6, write the exact value, close your bracket. Exactly. Now, remember what I just said now. You cannot look for a value that is on the left side of what you're looking for. What do I mean by that? You see, I want to use this column here. That's these names here. To, it is these names I've been using to search for training ID, to search for certification, to search for, right? So because employee ID is on the left side of name, I can't use VLOOKUP to look for employee's ID. So VLOOKUP only apply for, you only look for value that are on the right side of the value you're looking for. This case, employee ID is on the left side, so you can't use it. So look at it. Let's try it. I'll say VLOOKUP, right? I'm using this and I put the whole data set, right? Remember, the column ID has to be a positive number, because what we are saying is that, okay, let's say, okay, the column ID is, since I picked the whole data now, so what I want to return is 1. Let me put 1 and make it false. Close your bracket and drop. Can you see? What do you have? Not applicable. I've already explained why you're having it not applicable, because the value you're looking for is on the left side of the value you want to return is on the left side of the value you're looking for. Does it make sense? Are we still good? Let me see
Yep.
the thumbs.
Yes,
Yes,
it does. Yes, it
Yes.
does. Let's use minus 1.
Okay, I like
This is going
that
to the
thinking.
left.
I like the thinking. I like the thinking. You notice I've corrected it to -1 right now, right? And I enter. Can you see? You see, I've put it to -1, right? It's not possible. You get it now, right? So
Yes,
that
I
is
do.
where my sweetheart comes into play. XLOOKUP. XLOOKUP comes into play. So XLOOKUP can go vertical, horizontal, everywhere. The same way we do it now is XLOOKUP. XLOOKUP. What is the lookup value? Remember we're using this as our lookup value, right? Now you will notice that the the array in this case looks different. In those other ones, it's just the lookup value, then the lookup array, right? Then the column. So in this case, we have lookup value, you have the lookup array. The same way. In this case, now the beauty of this one is that in those lookup array, we usually pick a table, but this one is a lookup array. Are you understand what I'm saying? If you check, this one is saying lookup array, but in those other ones, what we have is what? Lookup table. Let's say in VLOOKUP, what you have is what? Lookup value and table array. But in this case, in XLOOKUP, it's just an array you're looking for. So if I say this value, what we are saying, lookup array is saying, where do I want to look for this value? What is my lookup array? So what am I looking for? This occur for, where do I want to look up for it? Is in this array. This time around, I'm putting it as an array. I want to look for Okafor in this array, right? Then it tells you return array. What you want to return? Where is it from? Is on this array, right? Now see the beauty of this one. Now it's giving you an option. If I don't find the value, what do you want me to write? If I don't find the value, I can decide to put a custom word there. Remember, I told you anytime you want to type, you have to put it in quotation marks. So I put my quotation mark. If it is not found, I want to say not, or I just want to say missing. Can you see? And again, what kind of match do I want? Is an exact match. There's exact match or net smaller item, exact match or next larger item, wildcard character. So what am I doing? I'm using exact match, which is 0. So this last search mode is not really necessary. This is a search from first to last, so you can decide to leave it blank. So in this case, I will leave it blank and see what will happen. Can you see? It returned my employee ID. Can you see? Are we good? Are we still together? And click and drag. Good. So it means to correct this one, we can just use, you see the beauty of this is I can just decide to copy like this too. Okay, cancel. When it turns like that, I can drag it up. It applies to it too. But mind you, something shifted. Let's look at, let me bring it back. Oh, excuse me. Let me press F2. Did you notice the table shifted upward? Because in this case, I dragged the table upward. I'm saying this so that we'll always remember to lock our table, to lock our ranges. Anytime you have a range, always remember to lock your range. Always remember to lock your range. So far, let me pause and take comments, question, any feedback. Are we all good together so far? Okay. Nice. Okay. So that's the beauty of using XLOOKUP. Like I said, because of the how sweet it is, I've forgotten about, I've abandoned most times I hardly use my VLOOKUP or even my HLOOKUP. I just go straight and use XLOOKUP because it takes away all this stress, because it goes both either way. Because the same thing with HLOOKUP, right? With HLOOKUP, the value you're looking for, if the value you're looking for, you can't go to the left of it too. You get. But with XLOOKUP, it goes everywhere. Then there's this beautiful guy here, which is index. Now, index function returns a reference to a cell that lies in a specified row and column of a range of cell. Now, for instance, I put my cursor here. You know, this is a specific place in terms of column and terms of row. What is this specific place called? Look at it here. It's called Q8. So where column Q and row 8 means is this particular cell. So what we are saying, using index function, it always need you to put what you need to specify. So can you see that this function will return the reference to a cell that lies in a specified row and column of a range of cells. So you see, where I put my cursor here is actually what the specific place is for Q8. I can come here and decide to say I want to go to R. I can come here and say I want to go to R10. R10. Just watch what will happen. This cell will jump to R10. Once I enter, I see it has moved to R10. So that's specific. So using index, right? If you use index, you can use index to move to a particular. You can use index to move to a particular cell or to a particular row that you want. So a typical example is I want to get a particular data set, right? You can use index and match. Now, to type it, you know, by the time you type the word index. So in this case, you can use, if you look at, you can decide to select a row, a particular array, right? And return the column and the row. So I want to return, let's say, it works similar, like it works similar like the way you have the table, right? You have an array and you want to return the column, right? So if you have this particular, for instance, let me say student 3, I want to return this student 3 science course, right? So if I look at this table, I want to return this student 3 science course. This is column 1, 2, 3, 4. Science is on 3. The row for these students will now be 1, 2, 3. So 3, 3 is where you have your 80, right? So with index, sorry, I have to call up my, you pick up this, I say, sorry, you pick up this, index, you pick up this array, right? You want to return row 3, column 3. And you see, it gives us 80. Pick up row 3, column 3. It gives us 80. If you want to return for this, let's say you want to return the English score for this person, right? You use, now the beauty of this is when you begin to, when you begin to have things like formulas, right? You begin to have formulas and every other thing. So like in this particular place, it's a build up. As we continue, we begin to see how to begin to combine the two of them. Now, because most times, I just want you to understand the concept of index, because you hardly use index on its own. It's usually used in combination with match. You always use it in combination with match. That's why you have this index and match. Just a minute. Just give me a minute. Let me attend to some. Sorry, guys. I needed to attend to the young ones. Okay, so like I was saying, the idea is just for you to understand how index work, right? So you always need a row and a column to return wherever a row and a column meets. That's when you use it, right? And also for match too. Match is to help you. What it does is to look up a value. You look for a value through an array too, right? And give it the type of match that you want. I'm saying this because it works similar with index and match, but usually it's their combination, because there's this debate that index and match, it works the same way XLOOKUP work, right? So some people say they prefer to work with index and match, while others say they prefer to work with XLOOKUP. So the index and match was also built to look at the limitations of HLOOKUP and VLOOKUP. So that's where index and match came in to cover up those limitations, right? So, and for the index and match, once you understand it, it makes it it's also a very strong thing you can actually use to get any value that you want. So let's see a typical example. We've looked at index. Like I said, index will always search for a particular, it will look at an array, return the row and column where they meet. So let's say, for instance, I want to bring out these students. I want to bring out these students and these students, right? I want to bring in their let's say, maths, or let me say, I want to bring in their English score, right? Like I said, for this one, you already know, if you look at the table, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, right? That's column 4. For student 2 is 1 is 2. For student 4 is 4 in terms of row. So Let's do this way. Index, right? I'm looking at this to this place. I've said the row number for this one is, sorry, let me lock this cell, F4. The row number is actually what? 1, 2. The column number is 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I'm doing this because I want to bring your attention to something that I can replace this 4 with another function. That's what I want to just let you know, that I can replace that 4 with another function, because that's when we begin to talk about, the moment you know how to use XLOOKUP, you know how to use match, right? You can begin to combine functions together. You can write in one cell, you write more than one function, right? So, but you understanding the basics so that you know how to combine those functions in establishing, because the beauty is when you have rows that you have like 3,000 rows of data, 7 columns of data, you want to get just a specific thing. You just want to pick at 50. So you to start looking for it or do filter. You just type in the formula, it will run through and give you your data immediately, right? So that's the beauty of us having it this way. So let's look at match. For match, it functions the same way, right? So this is what happened in this particular case. What they did here is just to get this one in red. We're just talking about what we did here was to look at this column. I want to get what is the highest value here. That's max. I want to get what is the max value in this place. What is the max value here? What is the max value? And that for that one, max is what? You just use the word max. So like we say, it returns the maximum number from this range. It will just give you the maximum number, right? The same way, maximum number from this range. You understand how we got this, right? Apply this like this. They look at the whole column and return the maximum number, right? The same way too, when I look at this column, from here to here, I want to return the maximum number. You can use the same thing. That's what happened here too. You get? That's what happened here. So is maximum from this range to this place, right? The same way I can apply here, right? Now, in this place, what happened is match. So what am I matching? What I'm matching is I'm matching this maximum. That's my M10, right? I'm matching the maximum, that's the M10, within this row. And I want it to return what? The column number 0. So let me explain what this is doing here. So remember the question says, who scored the maximum number? Who scored the maximum number?
Hello, team. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, so we're saying for max, for match, what we're saying, if you look at this, right? Now, this was the question. You are given this table of students from here to here, with their score. And the question is here, who scored the maximum number in terms of maths, science, and English? How do you calculate that, right? So what you just do here is just give the students number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? I'm using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in terms of the student. The first thing we did was to calculate in marks who had the highest number. 1, who has the highest number? Who has the highest number? That's what we did, right? So we got the maximum score. Now we are looking for the student that has the maximum number. Who is the student that have the maximum number? In this case, what happened here was to say, it's more like saying, this is what happened here, to say, match the lookup value. What are we looking at? The lookup value is the maximum number, this, right? From this lookup array. right? The match type, it has to be exact and return. That is why that means you are having 4 because what it did was to count 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's returning the number of row for you. Does it make sense? Good. Now, what we are saying is if you look at from this place to this place, what is the maximum number? Do you know that I can, like I was telling you, using combining different function. Let me put this, let me bring this formula up. You know this M10 is I can replace it with a formula, which is what? Max. The max of this place to this place. That is my M10. I've replaced M10 with this formula, and I'll still get the same answer. Did you get that? Paul, are we together? Did you understand what we did here?
Yes, I do. So
Yeah.
can we, instead of having the student distance to be 1 in numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, can we look up the exact student, like let's say maybe student 4 instead of just 1, 2, 3, 4? How can we do that? So like
So that's
bring,
yeah.
okay.
So that means we will need a helper cell. We need a helper cell, and this is the helper cell. This one that is here now. This 1, 2, 3, 4. What do I mean? By the time you do this, when I say I'm looking for what? VLOOKUP. I'm looking for this from where? From this array, from here to here. Can you see? And I say what? Which column? 2, right? And I say the exact match. What do you have? Student 4.
Okay.
Do you understand? So
Yeah.
that's why I'm taking my time for you to understand. When you understand that thing, there's not, see, let your mind flow freely. There's nothing you cannot do with it. Just keep experimenting. You understand? And look up. You understand? Now? So you see the way we first built it. You see this time around, we'll replace these marks. We'll use the actual formula. So you see that this is formula upon formula. Did you get? Do you know that I can still work? We can still do this, right? By adding. So let's do it this way. Now, instead of using the reference, I type everything into this. So what I'm saying that this, if I look at this, let's do it this way. This Q16 is this thing here. That means I can replace the whole of this Q16 by, I can replace it with this formula inside here. Let's try and see. So we're saying we can start it this way. That's the beauty of formulas. I can say max. I want to get the max from here. Right? Work with me. I've gotten the max. I want to build on this formula. What do I want? I want to get the match. You see the way I'm building on the formula? I'm matching this from this array to this place. And I want it the exact type. I close it. It's return 4. I want to build from this to do my XLOOKUP, my VLOOKUP from these 2. Right? I can start here, go back to this beginning of the formula and say VLOOKUP. So the whole of this is my lookup value. From where? This is the table array. Right? What is the column I want to return? Is 2. Right? And I want it the exact formula. And I will end up with student 4. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. It does.
You understand? Paul, Femi, are we together?
Yes,
Okay.
Tim. Yes.
Okay, so you understand. So we'll build from one place to another. So that's what I'm saying. We're taking it step by step, so that by the time you begin to see complex formulas. So that's why, for instance, when you see a formula like this, let me do something here. Can you see? What I just did was to bring out that formula. So when you see a formula like this, don't be scared. Just look at it very well. To when you see a formula like this, always start from the middle. If it will confuse you, start from the middle. From the middle, you are seeing what? Max this. So you're saying M5 to D. So you in this range, you look for the max. Max M to this. You got the max. So that max was not used to do index, was used to do match, right? With that match, once we got the match now form lookup value for the word VLOOKUP. So this is another way to get all the, anywhere you have formula, you can just type in formula text, right? And you reference the cell and close it to bring out it, you write the formula they use there so that you can read it. So that's another way to do documentation, right? So when you document, so that by the time you're practicing, always have a column, maybe at the end you put on the formula so that you know all the formula you have worked on. Are we good? Let me have a thumbs up. So I know we've used this today. Which other formula did we use? What did I do? Formula text, we've used here. We use max here, right? So these are the formulas that have been used. So the same way is the same thing that happened here. In which subject students 1, 2, and 3 score their maximum marks, right? So what they did here is, what we're saying, in which subject the students 1, 2, and 3 score their maximum mark. What they did was to use to search for this maximum mark, right? Like I said, we can do what? We can start by saying the maximum mark. The maximum mark in this subject, right? So it's what? Bam, 99. So the next thing we want to do is to search for what we say to do is to also do the match. Where does it correspond to, right? So we'll use this one to do match. So this is the lookup value, right? Once we use this as a lookup value, what is the lookup array? This is the lookup array, right? And what is the type? It has to be exact. We close our bracket and drop. It gives us 1. Remember, if we want to get the subject, we can do VLOOKUP on it, right? In this case, are we doing VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP?
HLOOKUP, right?
H, yeah. Okay. So we can now do HLOOKUP, right? So we say the whole of this is the lookup value. And remember that our lookup table will be from here to here, right? And definitely what we're looking for is in row 2, because this is row 1, this will be row 2. Row 2, right? And it has to be the exact, and close the bracket and drop it. So you see, we're saying student 1 has the highest score in what? Maths, and of course, see student 1 has his highest score because he has 91 in math, 83 in science, 85 in English. So you see, he had the highest score in maths. So we can bring in this formula, formula text, reference this one here, close it, it gives us the value. So you see, we have combined, can you see we have successfully combined what? HLOOKUP, match, max in one formula.
Tim,
Yes.
Assuming we did not write all these numbers, 1, 2, 3 numbers in front on top of math, science, English, and to the left of students, student 1, student 2, student 3, will our index and match distance still work?
That's why we can use index and match instead of using HLOOKUP and VLOOKUP.
Because I thought the match and index we're working with these numbers on top of the subjects and to the left of the students, so like in extracting
Okay, so
in values, right?
yeah, okay, so see, this is what I'm trying to explain to you. You know, we've not used index and match. What we're only using is match and HLOOKUP, match and XLOOKUP.
Yeah,
That's what we're
yes.
using so far. But when we use index and match, we will not need this 1, 2, or 3. 1, 2, or 3.
Okay.
Let's go to index and match now so that you see. So index, remember, like we talked about index. Index will look at the row, right? You need a row number and you need a column number. So match can look up a value and generates the number for you. Because if you check, when we do match, what does it give us? It always gives us number, right? So that's the number we can plug in the place of that column. When you look at this, so instead of having row number, you can use match to return a number for you that you plug in there. You get. So let's look at a typical example, right? So this is, we have a score here. We have a music score. We have students, right? We have a music score. So let's redo it here so that we can see. All right, just a minute. Okay, so can you guys just give me like 5 minutes? I'll be back. I might attend to something. So sorry.
All right, no problem, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
I don't see clearly with it.
Yeah, sorry guys. Are we still together?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
so sorry.
yes.
I needed to attend to something very urgent. Yeah, okay, so we are back to index and match, right? So we want to see how to make use of index and match. Remember, like we said, in indexing, what are we doing? We reference a particular column and we return based on a number that is row number and column number, right? So that's why in this particular, what we're going to do is to look at this table, right? That is going to be our range. Then we return a particular number. Good. So let's get started. So we say index. Okay. Let's start by saying what I want to do is I want to return, let's do index, right? Index, we're looking at the array. That's from here to here. Let's lock it, right? Now in the row number, for row number, what I would start with, let's use match, right? We use match to get the row number, while for column will always be 0. So now in this row number, because I'm looking for this student, I want you to pick it from here, right? So to get that, since it's going to be dynamic, because what we want is, when I say dynamic, I want something that you will just click and drag instead of doing them one, because if you check here, what we're doing is just picking just a singular one, we isolate it, right? We isolate it. But here we have array of, we have a table. Do I begin to now, okay, trace for just one and come? No, that is not the idea of having a formula. So the essence of having a formula is by the time you apply it, you just go across board and implement what you have in mind, right? So it implements what you have in mind and return your value for you. Now, to do that, like I said, let's start from here. What I want is, I want to look at these students and return their numbers. I want to return the student numbers. How can I do that? I can use match, right? So what am I matching? I'm looking at this value and I want to look at it from this array, right? Once I look at it from this array, I want the exact match. What will it give me? So what I'm saying that when you look at this students array, return the exact match where it is. Did you see that? Sorry, I need to lock the range from this place to this place. I want to lock it. That way I can pull down. So what does that mean? If you look at student 4, is found on row what? According to this formula, I say student 4 is found on row 3. So if I look at it, 1, 2, 3, can you see that's student 4? Student 5, according to this, I say is found on row 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Are we good so far? Let me have a thumbs up if you are good so far. Yeah. So why am I doing that? Because what I need in index and match is the row number. So this with match is already giving me the row number. Do you understand now? So I can now come back to my formula, right, and put my index. So I'm looking from the whole of this data set. Open. So I'm starting from here. I want to do index. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for from the whole of this data set to this place. Let me lock it, right? I need the row number. So the whole of this is now my row number. The whole of match has given my row number, right? And remember, for this, the column ID, I'm starting with column 1. Remember, column 1, column 2. So I want you to return the value here. And this is what I have. So what I'm saying is that if I look at student 2, student 1, he has 45. The same way, if I drag this formula down, I'll get the same value. So student 5 has 100, student 4 has what? Does it make sense?
Yes, it does. It does.
So I want you to give me a random number. Let's just give me a random number. Let's add a let's add geography. Give me a random number. Anything between 0 to 100.
30.
30.
30. 45.
49, 45.
70.
70.
82.
82.
60.
16. 13.
71.
71. Good. So this is another value I want to populate. Right? So I want to populate it. Let me say I have geography here. So I want to populate this value based on this table that we have. Remember, like I said, we can start with what? So we can start with index or we start with match. So this time around, let's start with index. So the index, right? Since the value I'm looking for, I can decide to pick all of them, right? I'll lock it, right? Now the row number, that's where I will bring in match. Row number, I'll bring in match. So what am I matching? I'm matching students, right? From where? From this row. So what we are saying is, look for this student from this array, right? I need to also lock up this one so that it doesn't keep shifting, right? What kind of match do I want? Is the exact value of match that I want. I'll close the match. Because this one is just closing the match first. Remember, I'm still under index. So index is saying, look at this whole table array 1, 2, 3, right? And look at that row number, which is the whole of match. Now I want him to return, since I'm looking for geography, so it's 1, 2, 3 from column 3. The column number is going to be 3. Right, so definitely we say for student 1, you can see his geography score is what? 71. So with this, I can click and drag. Can you see? Our student 5 is 13. Our student 3 is actually 16. Can you see? Our student 2 is 49. And our student 1 is 71. Does it make sense now? Are we good?
Yes, sir.
So just to answer that question that you asked Paul earlier, when you're saying, okay, let's remember to do our formula to text, right? We select this. It gives us the formula to text.
I think I understand better now, because before I didn't know that match works to row and column, like the numbering of the rows and the columns.
Yes,
so now
okay.
I understand. Yes, I understand better now.
Okay. So beautiful. So you see, we've made use of index and match here. We've made use of VLOOKUP and match. We've made use of XLOOKUP and match. We've made use of so there are so many things we can do with that. There are so many things we can do with that. So what are some of the use cases? And mind you, you can do index and match from one table to another, from one sheet to another. We've been doing with one table, right? Let me say this, okay? So I'm saying that you can do index and match, do VLOOKUP from one table to another. You can do from one as long as they have similar things that you can search for. A typical example, I want to use. Okay, so let's duplicate this table. You can decide to pick this table. Remember, I've told you sometimes if you want to duplicate the table, just click on it, hold the click, press down your control key. It changes, you just drag it. That means you have duplicated the table. Can you see? Let me rename this and say test. So I'm saying this because we can just decide to change so let's assume that this data set is empty. Let's assume that this data set is empty. You get. So you see that they share the same value, right? This data set is empty, right? So I want to populate this data from what is here. You can work with your index and match, right? If I decide to use XLOOKUP, SLOOKUP, right? So I can decide to say I'm using this. Where am I looking for this value? I'm looking for it from this one here. I'm looking for it from here. Can you see? I'll put, can you see? Now, I want it to return, can you see? Because it's still looking at the lookup value. What do I want it to return? Because I want to return completion dates, right? I'll put the completion date and F4, right? If it is not found, what do I want it to, if it doesn't find it, what do I want it? So look at what I'm typing here, that's what it will return. It just give me missing, right? Or I want the exact match. I can close my table and drop. Can you see it has populated it? It brings the value. So I'm saying this to let you know that you can bring in data from, perform this with multiple tables. You get now. Another thing is, we use XLOOKUP here. We can use index and match here. The same thing, we say index. But are we looking at, we want to match the index, right? We're looking at this whole table. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? So the row number, I can decide to use match to get them, right? So I come back to my text. What am I matching? What am I using to match? I want to use names too again, right? I select this. Where am I looking up the values from? I come back here. That means I'm looking for it from here. I'll lock it, right? What do I want? The exact match. I close it. I'm done with the matching now. So what column number do I want? Is this column 6, because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I say 6, right? Okay, no, I didn't close something. Before the 6, I need to put comma before 6. Yep. I know it looks a little bit messy right now, right? You can click and drag. Aha. What happened here? Let me see F2. XLOOKUP C10. You do use XLOOKUP. I thought it's index and match we use. Why am I seeing XLOOKUP somewhere?
Yes. Where did it come from?
I think wait.
It didn't mention it.
I didn't mention XLOOKUP. Match. Okay, let me see something.
And maybe we should trace it back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, this thing has a mind of his own. So
Really?
let me clean it and see.
But did
So
you pick up or highlight?
let me see. First, let me start with the match. What we are matching is this one, right? We say we want to match it from this lookup array, which is from here to here. Oh, now I see why. When I click it, that's when it gives me the. Can you see? The moment I click that match, is looking change it to XLOOKUP.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Doesn't mean
So
that formula is already in that row or column.
I'll
The XLOOKUP formula.
I'll check and see why. Let me see something. Okay, with this, it should give us the right thing. So let's just check. No, it doesn't. So what it does is it's telling you that what you are performing is XLOOKUP. Can you see that in his mind, he's telling you that it's XLOOKUP you're performing? Because now I'm crossing border, I'm going to another sheet. That's why he's trying to tell you that XLOOKUP is the best thing to use there. So, but what we are doing is we are doing match, but he's doing XLOOKUP for us.
Yes.
You get that? So that's like even me too. I usually argue with people that say, okay, they prefer index and match. So this one is just to give us the number. If we want to now do the index, we come back to the beginning and do the index, right? So what are we indexing? This whole from here to here. I put the index to it has converted it to XLOOKUP again. So convert,
Yes.
we lock it. So this whole place become the row number, right? And the column become 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we use 6, right? And we can then see, we can apply. We have the right one here. So can you see the beauty of this? You can see that invariably it's telling you you're adding what? Index, XLOOKUP, match, and XLOOKUP.
Match. Yes.
So let's put the formula here. Let's see. Formula. I'll put this. Can you see? Index XLOOKUP, index XLOOKUP, match XLOOKUP. So you see, those are the beautiful things you can do with that. And there are so many use cases, right? I can begin to do different things. Let me see. Let me drop it here. A typical example, I would like to do. Paul, you can mute first for the meantime. Yeah, so like I want to do something here, right? Where we can combine. We're just about to round up. Now, we've looked at VLOOKUP, we've looked at HLOOKUP, we've looked at XLOOKUP, we've looked at text, index and match. We'll look at index match, then we'll look at index and match and how we can use them, right? I was just trying to say something like some of the use cases where you can have this is when you want to do some kind of you want to have like how to get data. For instance, now I want to put this place. I'll put I'll bring these two things here. I'm not saying maybe you have a data set that you want to get, and you want to get maybe the person's I'm coming, let me draw this here. Okay. I want to just populate this table complete so that I can use it to right. Just use my this instead of coming here, you copy the data, go there and paste. You can just use formula. So the beauty of this, like I say, if anything changes here, it will reflect the changes over there. So let's say for this person that is pending, this person now score move to 90. Move to 90, right? And depending change to certified. You see the same thing apply here. Change to 90 and certify. So that's the beauty of having that. So I want to say, I want to have this employee name and this, and I want to always get their score and score. The employee score, right? Now, I can decide to, since I want to, the moment I pick, you should just give me this data at a go. You should give me this data. So that's like a use case where you can have this kind of things being done. So I can format this such that here I can always use drop down. Have you heard of data validation? Data validation.
No.
Okay, so now look at what I'm going to do. I want to just have only one cell that anytime I want to look at anybody's, I'll just click on change the person's ID, the employee ID. It will give me the name and give me the score. How do we do that? We come here, and the first thing I need to do is come to data, this data at the tab. I will have data validation. You click on data validation, you click on validates this data. Now here you can have this sorry, I want to, okay, yeah. I'll go to data validation, select, and I select what I want is, I want it to be a list, right? Now I'll say the source. This is the source I want to use from here to here, right? And I'll just close. Can you see it has added, the moment I click here, because this is where I added the data, it gives me like a drop down. I can always select, I can always change. So data validation helps in having accuracy, right? It prevents errors. Let me format this like this, right? So I want such that anytime I pick this value, it should return the name that corresponds to this. That is where we begin to apply those formula. So you know we can use VLOOKUP here too, right? We can use VLOOKUP, we can use XLOOKUP. So we can say VLOOKUP. You look up, this is the lookup value. This is the lookup table from here to here, right? And you want it to return column 2, right? The exact match. And you close your bracket and you drop. And you see, now, for each time we pick, the moment I come here and I change 3, you see the name changes. Does that make sense now? Is it making sense now? If I change it to 2,
It does, but
changes.
okay.
Can you see? So the moment I change to 102, it gives me the name. The moment I come and I change to 7, it gives me the name on 7, Mary Adams. How about the score? I can do the same thing. It gives me the score that matches. So this time around, I can reference either this one or this one. That will give me the score, right? So we can do, remember in this case, we use VLOOKUP. In this case, we can use XLOOKUP. XLOOKUP. What am I XLOOKUPing? I want to use this one, right? Lookup array is from here to here. right? What do I want it to return? I want it to return this value in this place, right? If it does not find it, it should just give me what? We can say missing. Remember, you have to put it in quotation mark because you are typing it. The kind of match is exact match. I can close my value and I close. Can you see? So I can have different formatting, different things to do to it. Can you see? I can decide to say let this be in the middle, right? So that means if I come here, I want to see this person's score. The moment I just change to anybody, can you see? Are we good? Does this make sense? Good.
Yes, Tim.
So this is like a use case where you can begin to apply this kind of knowledge and begin to come into play. With this, we use it to develop a whole lot of things. I used to tell people, one thing I've realized that most of these softwares, like especially like those accounting software, they are mostly Excel. They just use it to format and do other things. You get. So remember, we've also looked at what data validation, how to do data validation. So beyond just putting them here, I can have a bunch of words that I want to use for data validation. So let's say I have HR, IT, finance, marketing. If I want, right, let's say I want to use IT, finance, marketing as as my data validation. Remember, like I said, the first thing you need to do is go to data validation, click on this, click on data validation, and you can select what kind of data validation do you want. Sometimes it's time, sometimes it's date, sometimes it's list, sometimes it's decimal places. So, but in this case, we're using list. So what I'm just trying to say is that sometimes you don't have to reference, you can type it directly. What are the words you want to use? In this case, I say I want to use HR, right? I want to use HR. You add comma and type the next word, HR, IT, comma, finance, comma, right? You keep separating them with comma. Marketing, let's say sales. And once you're done, just say okay. I want you to take notes. You say ignore blank, in drop cells, you should ignore them. All right, right? So once you're done, you say, in fact, I can also put a notification, put a title. I can put a title and say department. I can put a message, select right department. And say,
Tim, are you typing? Because I can't see where you're typing now.
yes, I'm typing. So maybe if you look at
Okay.
the recording, because I think I'll post the recording. In fact, you can
Exactly.
even put error alert, right? You understand? Maybe somebody want to type something, it will give him a message and say no, select. You understand now? Those are some other options. So like I said, in this case, what I'm saying in that source, remember in that source, the first one that I did, I only came to reference this one. So I'm not saying that without reference, you can also type what you want to be. What I type is HR, IT, finance, marketing, and sales. So each of them, I separate them with a column, still typing them in one line. And I say, okay. Can you see? The moment I type in that place, you see what I said, it gives me the title. The moment I click on that cell where the drop down is, you get, the moment I click here, it will bring out a small pop-up, select the right department. So it's telling the person to select, you get. So when I click there, it will put a small note on that person, select the right department. That's why sometimes you see, maybe you're working with some software, you see like a pre-information already there. So those are, it's still the same thing here, you get. So those are just use cases on how to put up data validation. So we're going to see how to make use of them even as we proceed in this training. I would like to pause here and get any feedback or question or comments if anyone has.
For this data validation, I mean,
Yes.
I understood how you were doing it, but it has not yet stick yet. So I feel like maybe you said you will give us data to work with, right? So maybe
Yes,
then
I will drop.
when we try to
Yeah.
maybe when we try to work on some things to stick better.
Okay.
Stick better.
That's
That's what I wanted to say too.
okay. So like I said, as we go through, if there are other concerns that we have, we can always drop them in the Telegram channel. And like I did say, please let's invite more people to join the Telegram channel, right? And also please follow the YouTube channel, right? Data skills there, so that we can watch, also share with others that would like to watch. I'll try and see how to upload this recording into the channel, that we can continue to have it. Yeah. Right. Thank you so much for your time. I hope I didn't bore you guys.
No, sir. We should be
Not
the one
at all.
thanking you.
Not at all. Not
We
at
should be
all.
the one thanking you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very
No
much.
Thank
trouble. Yeah.
And my
So
boss will be happy I knew this.
is
That I
it?
know this. I said my boss will be happy that I've known this at least.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So like I said, maybe sometimes you may be having any challenge, you may be working with something. You always drop it on the Telegram group. Maybe someone that can answer it, or once I see it, I can also attend to it, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you all for your time.
Yes, sir.